All right, guys, there's a new Disney Lorcana Twitch channel. Disney Lorcana Lorecast. Latest news. Let's see what's in store for us. I'm very excited. I'm hoping some news for competitive announcements. Digital client. Unlikely, but one can wish. Some set 4 stuff. This is new. It's Ursula. I wouldn't have known that before I started playing Lorcana, if I'm honest. They're the Illumineers. They seem to be getting wrecked. Who is that? These 3 characters are the Illumineers. They actually have some cards in game. Mickey Mouse? The guy in the blue jumper has an aerial. The guy in the blue jumper has a card in steel, I'm fairly sure, from the set. Set 3. Dragon things. Jafar. Uh-oh, Ursula. With her belly. Ursula's Return. Hello. Set 4 name? Ursula's Return. Oh,
hello,
baby.
Lumineers. I'm Ryan Miller, co-designer and brand manager of Disney Lorcana, and I'm here to welcome you to the first ever Disney Lorcana Lorecast.
Thanks, Ryan.
We'll be using Lorecast to give you the first look at all things Disney Lorcana, and today we're kicking it off in a big way by announcing Set 4, Ursula's Return. The storm has been building in the magical realm of Lorcana. A powerful Ursula glimmer is entangling other glimmers, bending them to her will, while many more have gone missing. How far will the Sea Witch go to gain power over all Lorcana? Ursula's Return will be available at hobby stores and Disney parks on May 17th, 2024, and at mass retailers and DisneyStore.com on May 31st, 2024.
Who those guys are on other starter packs.
One of the things I'm really excited about for Ursula's Return is the inclusion of Encanto. It's one of my favorite movies, and I can finally talk about it. So many of you over the past year or so have asked me, when is Encanto coming into the game? And I've known all along, but I couldn't say anything. Well, now I can. They're finally in, and it's super exciting.
Quest.
The other thing I have not been able to talk about for so long, but really wanted to, is a Lumineers Quest. It's a whole new way to play Disney Lorcana. Instead of playing against your friends and family, you are now playing with them. It is a cooperative experience where you will team together to defeat the Ursula Glimmer and save Lorcana itself. It's awesome, it's amazing, and I can't wait for you to try it.
Damn, okay. Okay, that's big. That's really awesome.
One of the more subtle changes we're making with Set 4 has to do with the accessories. Now, in the past, the accessories always pulled art from the set that they came out with, but starting with Set 4, we're going to use this opportunity to pull art from any of the sets so that we can really highlight those fan favorites, such as Giant Tinkerbell, one of my personal favorites, and of course, I've used some of my power to make sure she got her own playmat, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to see some really great sleeves, deck boxes, and playmats going forward that pull from all the art of Lorcana. Now, last thing I want to talk about is Disney Lorcana Challenge. This is our series of competitive events that allow you to show off your skills at deck building and playing, but I know what you all really care about are the prizes, and we are giving away some amazing prizes, and I'm here to show you what they are.
Oh, this is exciting.
First off is our participation prize. This means everyone that comes to the event gets one of these, and it is this gorgeous Dragonfire. You can see we're doing a full extended art all the way to the edge of the card based on the original art of the card. Let It Go is the Day 1 Performance Prize card. That sounds really cool. What does that mean? Well, the top 64 are going to get one of these. There's also other ways you can get one of these as well. This beautiful Cinderella card is going to go to the top 32 players, while Rapunzel is only for the top 16.
Oh my
And finally, for the top 4, we are doing a serialized gold promo of Mickey Mouse Brave Little Tailor. We've got some more details about Disney Lorcana Challenge later on in the Lorecast. but I'm super excited and I hope you are too.
Oh
I'm going to be at a few of the events,
excited.
so if you see me, hey, stop by. Let's talk Lorcana. Let's play a few games. I really can't wait. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of the Lorecast.
Thank you. I think it's Ryan Miller. Cheers, son. Oh, baby. So many prizes, so many goodies, so many leaks. Ladies and gentlemen, Ursula's Return is the name of Disney Lorcana Set 4. It comes out in May. We have a brand new cooperative game mode alongside this Set 4 release. We have all sorts of info on the new competitive circuit, and we also, of course, have new cards to review. Okay, card review time, ladies and gentlemen. The VOD is not available anywhere else, so I'm just using my own recording and covering up my beautiful face here, if you're wondering why there's 2 copies of me here. So Aerial Sonic Warrior is a new super rare card in Steel. She's an inkable 6-cost character with 3 strength, Madame Medusa, and 8 willpower. She quests for 2, she has shift 4, and her ability Amplified Voice. Whenever you play a song, you may pay 2 ink to deal 3 damage to chosen character. So the obvious deck that comes to mind initially is going to be Amber and Steel songs. Of course, you have that 3-cost Aerial. The question I have to ask you, though, do you really want to shift on top of a 3-cost Aerial that can already sing things like Grab Your Swords, Whole New World? Ideally not. So this card is definitely going to benefit from having a 1 or 2 cost Aerial that you could shift onto. So we're going to have to wait to see if that is something that gets released this set. The other thing to bear in mind, of course, with any Floodborn these days is Morph. So there's definitely some Morph synergy in there. Also, Ursula Deceiver of All synergizes with this Aerial. You sing 2 songs and then you could pay 2 ink. 4 ink to deal 6 damage. That could be pretty damn devastating. Now, if we compare the 2 ink to deal 3 damage to Smash, Smash is a card which you pay 3 ink to deal 3 damage. So paying 2 ink for 3 damage is pretty damn good. Overall, I like the look of this card. I do think it wants a 1 or 2 cost Aerial to shift onto, and how good it is definitely going to depend on that. If you've got a really powerful 1 cost Aerial card, this suddenly looks really good. If you don't, I'm not thrilled at the idea of shifting this onto a 3-cost Aerial. That 3-cost Aerial is already getting you value by being on the board and having Singer 5. But this card seems very good. I think it's going to see some play. Steel does definitely have a bit of an issue there where a lot of their powerful cards are in Madame Medusa range. We've seen Robin Hood, Beast, and now Aerial Sonic Warrior gets added to the list of very easily Madame Medusa-able targets in Steel. Okay, up next we have Mirabelle Madrigal. This is a starter deck shiny card, starter deck foil card. It's a 5-cost uninkable. Now, it is in Amber, so I do want to give just in time a mention, a little bit of a forgotten about card, but that's always worth mentioning. Amber actually has probably the worst 5-cost cards overall on average, so yeah, that's worth bearing in mind. She has support, she quests for 2, and whenever this character quests, your other Madrigal characters gain +1 lore this turn. So if you have 2 of those on the board, she quests for 4. Pretty cool. Probably only going to be seeing play in the starter decks. The fact she's uninkable is pretty heartbreaking. Now that we're 4 sets deep, your uninkable cards, there's so much competition, right? So like Perdita for 1 ink more, it's not even a competition, right? Perdita is just leagues above this card, and even Perdita's struggling to find a home at the moment in the meta because of its uninkable nature. This card is not going to see any competitive play, but it is a starter deck card. And I mean, maybe it does. Maybe Madrigal cards are insane. I doubt there's going to be enough of them right now, but maybe one. Up next, we have Bruno Madrigal, who's Out of the Shadows. 4 strength, 5 willpower, 5-cost uninkable. Quest for 1, which I'm covering up slightly there. When you play this character, chosen character gains. When this character is banished in a challenge, you may return this card to your hand. So you could play Bruno on the board. You could challenge with Maui, for example, and then if your Maui is banished that turn, your Maui comes back into your hand. That honestly seems like the best use case for it. It's like an extra Maui. Not a huge fan of it. Only quest for 1 and it's uninkable. I don't think it's going to see any competitive play. We have Dolores Madrigal. Now, this is a pretty decent card, I have to say. 4-cost inkable, 3 strength, 3 willpower, quest for 2, magical informant. When you play this character, if an opponent has an exerted character in play, you may draw a card. I think this is a very, very good card. Of course, Amethyst has a lot of card draw, but I think the most comparable card to this is the Rabbit. Now, Rabbit has a 2/3 stat line. It is uninkable, and of course has big bounce synergy, and it also draws you an extra card when you remove it from the board. Whereas this is only on deploy if your opponent has an exerted character. The thing is, your opponent's going to have an exerted character very often, so it's not a difficult to match, and it's inkable. That's a big deal. So Rabbit, even though Rabbit's very, very good, aggro decks, for example, I don't love playing Rabbit in those decks if I can at all help it because of its uninkable nature. Whereas this card, aggro decks will definitely play this card. We have up next Felix Madrigal, who is a 2 strength, 4 willpower card. Quest for 2. This card already exists. It's a Piglet card and it doesn't see any play, but it's honestly not bad. This stat line is pretty solid. Very baseline. We already have this card in Amber, which is a bit sad. Of course, the tags are different, but the Piglet card doesn't see any play. This also won't see any play. Julieta Madrigal, who has 1 strength, 4 willpower. She costs 3. She's inkable. She quests for 1. Signature recipe. When you play this character, you may remove up to 2 damage from chosen character. If you remove damage this way, you may draw a card. So she is very comparable to a budget version of Rapunzel. Rapunzel, of course, can draw you up to 3 cards. Madrigal can only draw you 1 card. But if there is any healing decks, Grand Pabby alert, then this card could be pretty damn solid. At the moment, every time I've tried to build a healing deck, there just hasn't been enough payoff. This isn't really giving you payoff, but it is giving you some value. In fairness, healing something for 2, drawing a card is honestly quite strong. If this card quested for 2, I would be much more interested. I don't think it's going to see any play, unless there's a healing deck which comes out and starts being good, which I'm sure at some point there will be. Okay, we have a big powerhouse legendary. Milan, Elite Archer, 6 cost inkable, 2 strength, 6 willpower, shift 5, quest for 2. Straight shooter. When you play this character, if you used shift to play her, she gets +3 strength this turn. So she should be a 5 strength, 6 willpower card the turn you play her if you shift her in. Triple shot. During your turn, whenever this character challenges, deal damage to another character in a challenge. Deal the same amount of damage to up to 2 other chosen characters, and she gains 2 lore each turn she quests. Elite Archer looks pretty damn impressive. You're able to deal up to 5 damage to 3 different characters the turn she comes in. Of course, at the moment, there are no Milan shift targets which come to mind that are seeing any competitive play. There are a couple of Milan characters in Amber which I don't think are particularly good. Of course, Morph is an obvious one. So we're certainly going to be waiting to see what the other shift options are on this card, but it looks very powerful. Now, important to note that it's number 224 out of 204. We did get this confirmed that this card is some sort of card to do with the new single player co-op experience. You can see this like little border on here. What we don't know is if you can only get this card through buying that, which would seem a bit weird, or maybe if this is just a slightly different artwork with this frame break effect going on here. You see how the bow is coming out of the frame here and here. You also see this little Ursula vine type thing here as well. So we're not sure if this is just a only available in those packs, only available via the Ursula. We're not sure if this card is only available via Ursula or if just this art version of it is only available. I would imagine it's the art version that's only available through it, but we have to wait and see on that one. Because otherwise this card is going to be ridiculously expensive. I'm sure it's going to have to still be in packs, but perhaps it just means that there's more than 204 cards this set. Bit of a weird one on the numbering. Let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, we have Mickey Mouse Playful Sorcerer, another card which has this border and is 225 out of 204, so it's going to be in the Ursula single player experience. Mickey Mouse Playful Sorcerer, 3 strength, 4 willpower. It quests for 2, and it has resist 1, shift 3. When you play this character, deal damage to chosen character equal to the number of broom characters you have in play. So more broom payoff. Broom deck's still not it. To be honest with you, even with this card, it's not enough payoff. It does seem like broom deck is going to be one of the decks that you're given to play, though, in the Ursula expansion. This card is not going to see any competitive play unless a minor miracle happens and some more broom payoff comes out of nowhere. All the broom cards so far, I'm not really sure there's a single good one. This one's okay, but the rest of the brooms kind of suck. Okay, we have Yen Sid, which is 223 out of 204. So again, one of these cards available in the Ursula expansion. 2 cost inkable, 1 strength, 3 willpower. When you play this character, if you have a character named Magic Broom in play, you may draw a card. While you have 2 or more broom characters in play, this character gets +2 lore. Now, this is a very good payoff for brooms. Probably not enough to make brooms competitive, but if you do have 2 brooms in play, it's questing for 3, and it's also drawing you a card, which is pretty good. Of course, you could also bounce this guy back if you so desired to then get more card draw from it. So it's like a Maleficent mixed in with a Piglet Pooh Pirate Captain that only costs 2, but it's very limited to a Magic Broom deck. I think it's going to be way too niche to see any competitive play because I don't believe in brooms, but in a broom deck, it looks like a fun card. Okay, some more reveals for set 4. This is Rapunzel, Appreciative Artist. She is a 3 strength. Okay, we've also got Rapunzel, Appreciative Artist. She is 5 cost inkable, 3 strength, 5 willpower, quest for 3. While you have a character named Pascal in play, this character gains Ward. I don't think this card's great. Of course, depends on what Pascal cards are on offer. Ward is definitely a very powerful ability, but I don't think it's going to be good enough. She's pretty good, but you have to remember that Sapphire typically is a deck which wants to ramp, and therefore a 5-cost card you often only play a few of because you want to play kind of these big 7, 8-cost cards, and for that reason I don't think she's going to see much play. Also worth comparing her to Maleficent from set 1, which saw a lot of play in set 1, the 5-cost Sapphire card, but has not seen any play since. Okay, we have Goofy, Super Goof, or should I say Goofy, Super Good. This is a card, ladies and gentlemen. 2 strength, 4 willpower, 4 cost, inkable, has rush. It quests for 1. Whenever this character challenges another character, gain 2 lore. Oh my goodness, that's good. So an aggro deck would love to play Goofy. So some kind of aggro Ruby deck, for example, just to get across the line, comparable to a goat. It's lore which cannot be denied. Of course, your opponent could not have any characters available to challenge, but that seems pretty difficult to pull off. This is a great card, and I love the artwork too. We have Hans, Noble Scoundrel, a 3-cost inkable card with 3 strength, 2 willpower. Royal Schemes, when you play this character, if a princess or queen character is in play, gain 1 lore. And it quests for 2. So if you compare it to the standard stat line Mickey card from Amber set 1, 3-cost inkable, 3 stat line, quest for 2, Hans is pretty comparable with the potential of gaining 1 extra lore when it's played, but it loses 1 willpower as a result. I think the card's okay. Princesses and Queens, not going to be that consistent to get it down early on. It probably is better than Mickey, but not by that much. I think the card's fine. I don't see it seeing competitive play though. Again, Sapphire really on turn 3, and every Sapphire deck we know, you want to be ramping on turn 3, and therefore it's pretty difficult to include a 3-cost card like this. But of course, there are the potential of playing Sapphire decks which don't want to ramp, and therefore Hans could be a card. I think this one is more for fun though. It's going to be a pretty solid card in a Princess and Queen deck, but how good a Princess and Queen deck is going to be? Probably not very good. And this card is not enough of a reason to suddenly play them. Okay, we have Daisy Duck, which is a 1/3 1-cost inkable card, which quests for 1. It is Olaf, it is Minnie Mouse, but it is in Amber. And this probably does become the best inkable 1-drop in Amber, not including shift target. So at the moment you have Stitch, which is a 2/2 stat line. I do tend to prefer the 1/3 stat line. Amber being quite an aggressive deck, you do value usually that extra willpower because it's more likely to be able to quest twice in an aggressive deck rather than the strength. So I think Daisy Duck will definitely see some play, even if she doesn't have any shift capabilities. And we have Anna, a 2-cost inkable card in Sapphire, 1 strength, 4 willpower. I was born ready. If you have another hero character in play, this character gets 1 lore extra, and she already has 1. Now, heroes are very common. I checked. There's 198 heroes in the first 3 sets, so you can certainly expect some more, and this ability should be pretty easy to pull off, and if you can, she's very good. You can compare her to Wendy Darling, who is a 1 strength, 3 willpower card that quests for 2 in Amber, costs 2, it's inkable. Very similar card, but you have an extra willpower, but the condition, you have to meet it to get that 2 lore. Would you rather play Anna or Wendy? Probably I would rather play Wendy to be safe, because, yeah, you're going to need to play a hero on turn 1 or turn 3 for the Anna to be gaining her 2 lore, the turn that she's able to quest initially. But yeah, I don't think she's great. I think she's okay, though. And finally, we have Triton's Trident, which is a 2-cost item. Banish this item. Chosen character gets +1 strength this turn for each card in your hand. This card is terrible. The reason it's terrible is it's a 1-use item, which is pretty expensive and quite low impact. Really, from an item, you want to be able to use it multiple times. If you compare this to Scepter of Arendelle, which is a 1-cost inkable card in Sapphire, which when you exert it gives a character support, you're probably getting a similar amount of damage from that card, but it costs half as much and you can use it every single turn. This is just not a good card and it will not see any play. and give you my honest opinions on so much stuff to get through. So the featured products, we have a Amber and Amethyst starter deck, as well as a Sapphire and Steel starter deck. We have a Luminous Trove, and we also, of course, have booster packs. Nothing different here. Starter decks are exactly as we would expect them to be. Booster packs are exactly as we would expect them to be. The Trove, we have 1 card storage box, 6 card dividers, 8 booster packs, 6 damage counter dice, which is pretty nice, getting dice, and also a lore counter. So this is a lot better than, I think, the Illuminous Trove we got for set 1. And this is the big one, the Defeat the Sea Witch Illuminous Quest Deep Trouble. Face an opponent like no other. In this thrilling Disney Lorcana TCG experience, you must stand against Ursula and her entangled glimmers, even as her powers increase. Cunning as ever, the Sea Witch plays by her own rules and with her own all-new special deck. Try all 4 difficulty levels. With the contents of this box, you can take on Ursula's forces solo or cooperatively with a friend. You can also add up to 2 more friends with decks to your side for a total of 4 players. Players can use any standard Disney Lorcana deck. So, it's a single player experience or a cooperative experience against the computer, which is super exciting. So it's more of a board gaming take on Disney Lorcana. So within this box, you get 1 oversized Ursula card here. You get 1 Ursula scenario deck, which is 50 cards with a unique card back. So therefore, you're not going to be wanting to include those into your deck, I would imagine. 2 pre-built Disney Lorcana TCG decks with 60 cards. 2 oversized cards, double-sided background cards. 1 Deep Trouble playmat. I'd assume... Can't quite see it, but I guess this is maybe the playmat. We can't see the playmat, so I guess like this is the card, Deep Trouble. 1 Ursula draw token, 3 lore tracker tokens, 29 damage counters, 1 secret victory card, and a Deep Trouble rule sheet. So we're going to talk more about this in a minute, and there's some learn more here, but this is like some kind of pack that you can only open once you win. Of course, you don't have to, but that's the idea. Once you beat Ursula, you get some kind of mystery pack, and they wouldn't show us what was in it. There's also some new accessories, but this time not for set 4. Well, they come out with set 4, but it's set 1 art here, set 2 art, and I think set 3 as well on Genie. So Tinkerbell coming into the mixer, which is pretty cool to see. All right. So more at Deep Trouble. So team up with friends or play alone to defeat Ursula. It comes out on the 17th, so the same release date as set 4 in hobby stores, and the 31st elsewhere. Ursula is rising to seize power over Lorcana, stand against her and her horde of entangled glimmers to save the realm. Whether you face her with friends or alone in solo play, your goal is clear. Defeat the Sea Witch and restore the future of Lorcana. Designed for the experienced trading gun player, the Illuminous Quest Deep Trouble for the Disney Lorcana training game will be available at hobby stores. Okay, so I can't see the card back here that it's mentioning. Defeat Ursula. Deep Trouble comes with 2 pre-constructed player decks featuring the Sorcerer Yin Sid of Disney's Fantasia and the Brave Mulan. Player turns occur at the same time, so coordinate with your team using abilities and effects on each other's glimmers to ruin Ursula's schemes. Up to 4 players can join in total with the addition of any 2 standard Disney Lorcana decks sold separately. Ursula's army, the Sea Witch, will use her powers to protect her lair against the Illumineers. Designed especially for the Illumineers quest, Deep Trouble, this gold-backed deck features entangled glimmers and mighty natural disasters. Ursula also plays by her own rules, and her powers increase as each move she makes brings her closer to her ultimate design. So there's multiple levels of difficulty, where you will fight Ursula at the site of your first Where will you fight Ursula? At the site of your first encounter or at her lair where her powers are the greatest? Battleground cards determine how difficult the encounter will be while giving Illumineers unique abilities at the cost of lore. While the first 2 battlegrounds are great for starting out, 2 more are included to give players even greater challenges with Deep Trouble. Now, this, I don't think got announced, this card, but look, it's just snuck in here, which I think this is like an accidental leak because I've not seen it anywhere else. Ursula, Sea Witch Queen, 7 cost uninkable legendary, 4 strength, 7 willpower, shift 5, quest for 3. Now I am the ruler. Whenever this character quests, exert chosen character. You'll listen to me. Other characters can't exert to sing songs. Oh my goodness. So of course Ariel likes to sing songs, but Ursula says no. So if she's on the board, nothing can be exerted to sing songs, which is fascinating. And she's also able to exert a character whenever she quests. So kind of comparable a little bit in a sense to, for example, Elsa, where Elsa on deploy is exerting a card. She's doing it every time she quests. And she quests for 3. She's very difficult to remove. She's out of Madame Medusa range as well, which is pretty significant. This card looks fantastic. Of course, there's quite a number of Ursula shift options. In particular, Emerald comes to mind with that 2-cost Ursula. You've also got Morphin Emerald. So I can definitely see this being a Emerald Amethyst combo card. I like this card a lot. It looks very powerful. We also got some information on the Disney Lorcana Challenge. The first tournaments have been announced May 25th to 26th in Atlanta, Georgia, the 8th to 9th of June in Chicago, Illinois, and there's going to be 4 more North American events announced. The European events, the 25th of May in Lille, France, and July 6th to 7th in Bochum, Germany. I must confess I've never heard of Bochum, but I'm sure it's a lovely place. I'll certainly be doing my best to attend both of the tournaments in Europe, as well as the other ones. You get these participation awards shown earlier on in the video, depending on where you place. They also announced, weirdly, that the official way of playing this in Swiss, rather than doing best of 3s, is it's not a best of 2, but you play 2 games. So you just go first one game, you go second another game, which does do a decent amount to alleviate my concerns about the coin flip. However, I also don't love that idea, because my concern with that is that you're then going to be quite rewarded for having a very polarized deck, and therefore matchups can become a little bit dodgy. For example, if you're playing an aggro deck, you want to make sure that you're able to win going second as well. That's really, really important. So you're going to be wanting to really polarize your deck and make it incredibly aggressive. Or if your aggro deck even super aggressively isn't going to be able to win going second, you might just not play aggro at all. It's pretty interesting. It's definitely going to impact the way you want to build your decks. I think I might like it, though. Let me know your thoughts. Best of 3s, or do you like this idea of playing 2 ofs? Let's say you win 2-0 in your first game. You're then going to be queuing against someone else in round 2 who also went 2-0. Similarly, if you went 1-on-1 in your second game, you're then going to queue against someone that went 1-on-1. So you're going to be more able to quickly find opponents at your level. I think it's pretty interesting, and it does alleviate some of my concerns about the coin flip. However, one thing I really didn't like is they mentioned some tiebreaker factors, and one of the tiebreaker factors, which they said was quite far down, was the person that won game 2 gets a bit of an extra tiebreaker, which just means that you always want to go first in game 2. So that kind of sucks. I don't really think I like that part of it, but pretty interesting stuff overall. I'm really excited for the competitive circuit. So much information. I'm just like, woof, 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 woof. Like, I'm feeling a bit lost after all this. There's so much to have talked about. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a like if you did. If I missed out any details, because it's a little bit all over the place, I feel like this stream was very, very long. I think we could do a kind of like a more condensed thing moving forward, to be honest with you. But it was good. I enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching. All the details on set 4 are really exciting, and I can't wait to bring you more details as and when we get them. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on future updates for Disney Lorcana set number 4. Deuces.
Tim Schilder from the game development team. Hi, Tim.
Go on, Tim.
Hello there. Thank you for having me.
Lovely shirt, mate.
So we're introducing a new Swiss format called 2-game round format, and for other TCGs, there's typically you play best of 1 or best of 3. And we didn't quite feel that that was right for Disney Lorcana. We didn't quite feel that either one fit perfectly for Disney Lorcana, is what I should say. You know, I had called a meeting with like all these people that work on Disney Lorcana, on Team Lorcana, to kind of plead their case. There's people that preferred best of 1, and there's people that preferred best of 3, and you know, everyone's saying which one they prefer. Everyone gets their chance to speak. And when I went to Tim for his turn, he says, I know I was supposed to answer 1 or 3, but what about 2? And I sort of laughed it off, and I was like, okay, who's speaking next? But he proposed this format where you play 2 games in a round. So Tim, can you explain how it works for everyone today?
Yeah, of course. So, of course, there is a number between 1 and 3. So we thought 2-game matches kind of make sense for Lorcana for the challenge events, because you are awarding, or you're getting awarded points for each win you achieve in the match. So if you win one game, you get 1 point. If you win 2 games, you get 2 points, but also you will get an additional point for winning 2-0. With this, we can really better in Swiss determine your strengths in the game. And rather than just splitting you in 2 groups with winners or losers after game 1, you will be paired against someone of the same strength, with being a 2-0, a 1-1,
It's
or
pretty cool,
a
actually.
0-2.
Obviously, that kind of combats the coin flip aspect
so,
as well.
I mean, one of the things,
you're going to be going
and I know
first
a lot of
once
people are
and
saying,
second
what,
once.
best of 2? It's not best of 2, and we need to be specific about that. It is a 2-game round format. Some things that are important about this, you know, there's been a lot of debate in the community about the die roll mattering so much. Who gets to go first matters. In this way, actually both people get an opportunity to go first. So when you do the die roll, you're choosing which game you're going first, rather than winning the die roll and just immediately going first, and then whoever wins or whoever loses, I'm sorry, gets to choose the next one.
So if I was playing aggro,
this way, both
I might
people,
want to go
it's
second
more
with aggro
akin
first,
to
because I have more surprise
sports
value.
or
It's the harder
esports,
game.
where
So maybe
you
going
have
second if you
sides
have
and
like a
you're
spicy
swapping
deck is better,
sides.
because you get
If
more
there's a side
surprise value in the
advantage,
game that's
you
harder to
can't.
win.
There's nothing that you can. There's nothing that using the side advantage matters with. I will say that going first, you know, because people have different reasons for how they value that. There are things where now there's strategy to choosing which game you go first in based on your deck and how you like to play. And Tim, I mean, if you can talk about that even a little bit.
Yeah, so in our development and also in the testing, we experienced that many players are putting a different strategy into the match, and some prefer going first in the first game to to have no knowledge about the opponent's deck and also to surprise the opponent, while some players prefer to have already some knowledge there, and then after winning the dice roll, decide to go first in game 2.
I would go first in game 2.
Worth to mention
For
that
sure.
there are certain tiebreakers, of course, in
Depends on the deck.
2-game format. So after looking at the points and the wins, of course, their strengths of schedule means that if your opponent is winning 2-0 and having more points, your tiebreaker with strengths of schedule that is relying on that is also getting better, which kind of encourages both players to finish the match in time and to always come to a result, since you can always win a point and not win the first game and then lose 2 games and get nothing out of it.
Yeah, and you know, something else, you know, that there's a few things that this solves. Best of 3, obviously, that's what TCGs have been using. So the reaction that, you know, we've done test events with this, the reaction that we get from people that have played other TCGs before they play it has been, why are you doing this? You already know what works. Best of 3 works for other TCGs.
I really like the best of 2
So just use best of 3. You have precedent for what works. We want to make sure that we're doing what works for Disney Lorcana. And something that we've been seeing when there are these third-party tournaments that have been happening over the last few months, there's a number of things that there's been feedback over that hasn't been feeling right for us. I mean, people have been reporting that you know, games are taking too long. If they're going against a control mirror, they're not finishing the round. One thing that we don't like is people playing the tournament rather than playing the game. In this scenario, every game matters. There's no way to, like, intentional draws have been something that's been happening at these third-party events. There's no way to do an intentional draw in this because you need to play out your games. The bonus points even kind of prevent that, because if you draw with your opponent and someone else goes 2-0, they could jump ahead of you. And it's not easy to predict how the standings are going to be.